at 6:13 p.m. Well, Rosa's technically here to do roll call, and you probably can't see all of us though, so I'll go ahead and I think I should be able to do that. Who else do we have online? So we got Rosa online. Anybody else? Is that it? Around? Okay, so Rosa's here. Ryan, present. Jeff, present. Stephanie, Dwayne, present. Myself, I'm present. Leslie Wesley, I think not present. And then Karima Fowler, right, is making sure we're not on the list, right, not present. It wasn't Leslie Wesley down there, was it?
That was invited.
Oh, okay, all right. So, okay, so that with that, we do have quorum, and we will move forward. So next part is adoption of the revised agenda. I'll entertain a motion around our revised agenda. So moved. So move to approve our revised agenda. Is there a second? Second. Second, thank you, Dwayne. All in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Next up is a motion related to our May 21, 2024 board meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion related to those. I'll move for approval. Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second?
Second, Paul.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, that passes. Thank you. Next item up on our agenda is business services. And I think we have Rhonda here to talk about the personnel report.
Yes, thank you. Good evening.
Indeed.
So I have here on our first slide our personnel hires and departures for the month of May. Our next slide, we're just going to roll right into the financials for our Zone 501c3. And as usual, we present our revenue and expenditures here. Everything is aligned here. Even though it says our revenue is negative, don't be alarmed. That's just a matter of timing before we get our reimbursements back from the district from payroll. Moving on to the statement of financial position. Here's our current position for up through the month of May. And here is more insight on budget to actuals. As the fiscal year has ended, this is of note here. You can see what we planned for in the actual column. What we planned for in the budget column, what we actually spent, and the difference. So even though some items went over, some went under, you can see we're still within a decent margin of our goal. Right now, we've spent 102% of our budget. There are some bills pending for June, which will increase this a little bit, but mainly as usual, as we've been talking about throughout the year, legal fees have been a major driver of our spending going over a bit here. So with the school year ending, the Zone 501c3 budget came into on target, give or take. Okay. I'm going to just move on to the last slide we have here for you. So that's just the 501c3. That's just a sliver of our budget. That's $1 million. Our budget is actually over $32 million. So you can see where we landed in all of our funds here. Bottom line is we spent 97% of our budget. Some accounts went over, some went under. When we balance those out, the zone made its target for the 23-24 school year. So there we are working with the district, making sure we reconcile some of these accounts. As you can see, the education funds went over, and we are working with them to make sure that that fund is reimbursed. As you can see, we do have additional funds and other grants. And so to the extent that the grant allows, we will be reimbursing that education fund, including potentially some Title I funds, ESSER, and we also have some Pride and SIG funds as well that have to be expended according to the parameters and also by a certain amount of time, as most of those are federal. But so we made our goal for the 23-24 school year.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I know the Finance Committee met yesterday to review documents as well in advance of the meeting. Are there any questions from other board members or comments from Ryan on the finance report?
No, I would say Again, helpful discussion yesterday. As always, chance to make sure, I think from a finance perspective, we understand where the dollars are coming from in terms of the sources of revenue, where it's going out, and again, I'll say why, to an extent when we don't have the funds we thought in the education side, the education fund, a lot of that's just headcount that's dropped. So even though you may plan as best you can, the drops were a little bit more than we thought in terms of headcount. And so that's a little bit of the reality of why the numbers are a little bit, there's a disparity between what we planned versus the result. So all pretty explainable from my perspective.
I think we normally vote to accept these, correct? So I'll entertain a motion related to our finance report.
I so moved, make a motion to accept the finance report.
Thank you, Ryan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, thank you, Dwayne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstention? Thank you. Accepted the finance report. Next, I think that's it for your report. Correct?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
well,
thank you.
Thank you. And so next up is our zone chief evaluation on the agenda. Our governance committee has been working hard to put together a comprehensive evaluation of our zone chief, Dr. Davion Lewis. And I know Dwayne is one of the committees on that member and was going to provide some of our comments around our zone chief evaluation.
So I'll talk about the process, and then I think you would talk about the final determination. That would be wonderful. So the process was, we had asked, number one, after the evaluation last year, we wanted to set some goals for the coming year. And so in all of the 4 key areas that we were evaluating, and so there's some goals were set. And so those goals were sent to the board members with the goal that we would review the goals and then rate him based upon the accomplished goals. And we took all those who submitted the goals, were buried in our zone, kind of took them and aggregated it out. And then that gave us what we determined for the goal. And I think all in all, with Dr. Lewis's self-evaluation, with our evaluation, it was a very high score, so which would kind of reveal his success for the year. And we wanted to be able to express our appreciation for that success. So that's kind of how we got to the process of evaluating Dr. Lewis and then the outcome.
Yeah. And so related to that, right, we remind the public that personnel, right, items are confidential. As a result of the meeting, then the scores and the comments that the board provided were provided to Dr. Lewis as part of our formal process. And then, I will formally send an official email to Dr. Lewis thanking him for a very, very hard work this year. We set aggressive goals. I think the board always comments about the extreme number of measurement points of those goals that we have and trying to track towards those and the work that we've done to do that, to try to make sure that our students and families are getting the best services they can and excelling academically. And we feel like we've done that. So we want to make sure that we have a public opportunity to thank Dr. Lewis for his hard work, dedication, and I think all of the other attributes that were mentioned in that, we could have printed out a list, but I know efficient was one of them, and a lot of other of these positive terms about how hard David has worked. But I think the other big one is, I think it came through in the evaluation in our conversation as well, was around his reputation in the schools, how much the students just really connect to him, which is one of those that is hard to factor in an evaluation. And I think anybody who's walked around one of our schools with Dr. Lewis will know that the students recognize him. They appreciate the hard work that he's done, and we appreciate it as well. So I'll open it up now for comments from other board members around the evaluation and or Dr. Lewis in general.
I think the only other thing I would say is, for the feedback was if we're evaluating quality leadership and quality leaders surround themselves with good people too. So we recognize that Dr. Lewis is the leader, has provided great leadership and some of a great team, but there's a lot of people too. So and Dr. Lewis is very humble, I think, in terms of giving credit to the entire team for the successes that happen here. But we know at the least we need a good leader to some of our team to set direction. And grateful for Dr. Lewis for his leadership.
And I would like to add a comment on that. It's just, this has been, anyone who lives in the community knows it's been challenging times. And challenging times require, I believe, a challenging leader. And even coming into the role, and we acknowledged this the last year, when he was new to the position, that these were challenging times. And it requires great leadership, it requires boldness, courage, and a real thick skin. And I just, from my perspective, from what I have seen, you declaring publicly, again, leadership means there are people with you, and I look at those people with him. And it was a phenomenal year because of your leadership, because of the people that are with you, that stood by you in challenging times. And that's all.
Yeah, I would like to add a couple comments. Reiterating a bit of what's been said is that I want to acknowledge the entire leadership team. That I think, this is a good, hardworking group that seems to really be, the sum is greater than the parts, from what I can tell. And I would say also, the support for the teachers that you've shown, I think has been fantastic. And the emphasis on professional development, I think that's really big for our teachers. And I believe our teachers have appreciated that. So that to me was a big thing that we've done to really, also just from a morale perspective and supporting teachers, I think has been fantastic. So, thank you.
And I think Rosa was trying to come off mute there. Hold on, and Rosa, hold on for 1 second. We're getting a lot of feedback on you. We're gonna have Julia quickly jump into, or someone's gonna jump into tech help because she only has one arm.
The audio is not working anymore?
That's what we do. Yeah. So apologies for some tech issues here. I don't think we want to flood, but just have it so the sound comes through. All right, try now, Rosa, real quick. No. Okay, hold on one more second. We're close. That sounded slightly better. Okay, now let's try now. So, and Rosa, I don't know if you could just type, if that might be easier. I don't know why we're having an issue there with your mic, but.
We can just plug the audio out of the TV out and just play from the computer.
Yes. Just unplug the HDMI total. Okay, now Rosa, we'll try one more time if maybe you're already typing, I don't know.
Still coming.
It's on that TV, just turn, yeah, just. All right, one more second, we're close, maybe, we don't need to see the screen, so that's okay. Okay, now try one more time, Rosa. Now we got nothing. Or turn the volume up on that.
But it's still calling down the mic on the HDMI.
Unplug the HDMI.
Yeah, now I do that. Okay.
Now we're good to go.
Now I don't know if she can hear us at all.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, there we go. All right, we got it.
Oh, I feel so bad, all of you having that just for my heart. One
No,
little
you're good.
sentence I'm going to tell you. Good job, Dr. Davian. And I wanted to say, I was reflecting back to the State of the Zone presentation to the South Bend School Board, and I was just so proud to stand with you as you were presenting. There's just so many things you have done, what we have asked you, and more. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, and thank you all for trying to adjust just for me to say that. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Stephanie, go ahead.
And I'll add if I could, the work, the tenacity, I definitely want to thank Dr. Lewis for his work ethic, his tenacity. I think one of the terms I remember Dr. Lewis saying when he first engaged with the zone was something about flying the airplane while they're still putting it together. Some kind of way you phrased it, and that absolutely was the case. And I think it was more than a notion what you came in and attempted to achieve. And I really do feel that you have moved the needle so much and came up with so many innovative ideas, you and your team, that have not only been beneficial to the zone, but also beneficial to the corporation overall. So I don't want that to go unnoticed. We appreciate, and I know these are super challenging times. You're going to hear that over and over again. Education is hard work. It's hard work, and it's harder to move and change cultures too. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that Dr. Lewis has been working with, is trying to help us to embrace student achievement and changing the culture. So, I mean, from when I say feel, I feel different when I come into the buildings than I did when we first used to. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not the most intuitive person, but you really do feel different. And that's something that's hard to measure, and we try to do that in evaluation. There's other metrics, plenty of them. But I just don't want that to be lost, that there has been a change. It is noticeable. You can feel it, and you can see it in some of the results. There's plenty more work to be done, and I'm just glad that Dr. Lewis has been sharing and continues to share his expertise with the zone and for all the students that he's impacting and staff. So, thank you for that.
Thank you. Seeing, I think everybody's spoken, so that's great. Thank you. I'll give a final thank you as well as part of the evaluation process, and we will move on to our next item on the agenda, which we have a short one today, so it's pretty easy, public comment. I will not read the full public comment policy, but I will ask if there's anybody here for public comment, and if not, then I will not bother to read the whole thing, which is good. Oh yeah, would you like to make that?
Thank you. So first of all, thank you to the board for the evaluation this year. And certainly my work is not possible without the support of the board. So I do want to acknowledge and thank all the board members, Sam Santis and Jeff Ray and Ryan Mathis and Sonia Watkins and Stephanie Paul, Leslie Wesley, Dwayne Wilson, and Ms. Karima Fowler. And Rosa Hester, yeah. So all of our 9 board members who are volunteers. And so certainly the zone itself and my work would not be possible without the board. And then as mentioned, while certainly I am the face, the real hard work is done by the team. And so I have an amazing team of executive directors and building leaders. So Melanie Hackett and Marissa Davis and Julia Tao and Roxana Zapata and Rhonda Ross, and then our amazing building leaders who are really on the front line, Laura Krieger and Kwafi Scott Bradley and Francesca Jimenez and Samantha Smith and Timothy Harris. They are the ones leading the work, and they have amazing administrators and amazing teachers. I think about the folks who we helped to get certified this year. I think about the students who last year, when I just got here, who were up for expulsion, and now this year they're doing well. So all of our leaders, they're the ones that really do the work, and I just have the privilege of working with them, serving next to them. So it's all the result of them, and then certainly the families, the teachers and the students who, if you just, in my opinion, give folks high expectations and give them the tools and resources to meet the expectations, they will rise to the occasion. Everyone has done that so far. And so these are, as everyone has said, very challenging times for a variety of different reasons. So the acknowledgement is certainly even more special. And it's been a long day, and my last meeting was a long meeting and challenging meeting, so certainly I'm not this usually emotional, but I do again want to thank the board and thank the building leaders and the parents and the staff and all of the folks at the central office. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Great, thank you. All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The last item on our agenda is board communications. I did want to make two quick things. One is a reminder for our upcoming board meeting, and so that's there in the packet for our board members, that we are scheduled for 6 p.m. on July 16th. I also wanted to mention to send condolences to Leslie Wesley and her family as they suffered a loss this week. And so wanted to make sure that we recognize her on the record, and we appreciate her work also as a board member, and understand how challenging that can be for a family, and sending my thoughts, and I think we send our thoughts in general to her and her family. And with that, I will adjourn our meeting here at 6:34 p.m. Thank you everybody for joining us.